So in a last quick review before the new GTA Weekly update comes out and we get a new set of cars to buy, we've got the Coquette Classic. I'm doing this one slightly differently because, as is typical for my luck, with this being a car that I already owned, I obviously won this one from the casino wheel. Because why would I ever win something that I don't already have that's actually worth having? Journey 2, anyone? So what I thought I'd do is I thought I would pull mine out, the car that is, and then get the completely bog standard unupgraded one and do a bit of a review of whether the upgrades actually make a huge amount of difference. Now I've done one of these before, but I thought this would be an interesting car to show it on, and you can already see the difference it's made in terms of the handling. But here, as we hit the first checkpoint, you can see as we're just about to start the city section, the upgraded one has already pulled out a 10-second lead, which is a little bit more than I was expecting. Now I don't know why I'm surprised, because that's what upgrades are for, they're to make it faster. But it sometimes is surprising how much of a difference they actually make, and not just to the top speed. You could see from the get-go that the upgraded one was significantly better off the line, but one thing I didn't realise until I drove these two back to back was the enormous effect that the upgrades have on the handling. The upgraded car on the left, the blue one, is really nice to drive. I'm not going to lie to you, it's not massively quick, you know, spoiler alert, this isn't a brilliant lap time, but it is really good fun to drive and it looks gorgeous. Whereas the completely bog standard one on the right, which is now 13 seconds behind as we hit the freeway, it still looks just as good apart from the gaudy paint job that this one's come with, but it is an awful lot trickier in terms of handling. There's a lot less grip, it's much more prone to spinning out. The differences in power and speed and acceleration, you expect all that, you know, the differences in top speed, you expect that. But I was kind of surprised by how much difference the upgrades made to the handling. So why should you try and pick this thing up? Well, you've still got a chance, it's on the casino wheel, and it's worth the effort to try and win because it is a really good looking car. If you're a Corvette fan, you're a little bit spoiled for choice in this game. Whether you preferred the older classics or the more modern Corvettes, almost every era has been covered quite well. There are a few notable exceptions, so you know, come on Rockstar, give us something from the 80s and 90s. I think we could do with some 80s cheese. But that aside, really well catered for. All of the Coquettes in the game look really good. They're all really good fun to drive. Some of them are really quite quick. The D10 is a fabulous car for drag races. The Coquette Classic isn't really a fabulous car for anything other than looks. You're not going to win anything unless your definition of winning is to come last, in which case, do you know what? Yeah, you'll clean up. With that definition, you'll absolutely clean up. So as we come around here, let's have a look at the top speed of both of them. So I'm just going to need to give the unupgraded one a bit of a poke to get it to the same point, and let's see how the top speed of both of them compares. And there you have it, there's the difference. So as we come to finish, what do we think? Is this car worth the effort? Well, yeah, definitely, especially with it being free. Even when it's not free, it's absolutely worth it. It's a really good looking thing. It'll look good in anyone's collection. I would recommend picking this thing up, even if it's at full price. It's just such a good looking thing. And possibly in the least surprising revelation of my YouTube career, it turns out that yeah, the upgrades do actually make a difference. And neither of these were particularly clean laps, but the standard version was even less clean, and that wasn't just me being rubbish, although part of it was undoubtedly down to me being rubbish, but a lot of that comes down to the controllability of the car. That's why I do these laps with traffic on, because part of the way I want to test them is how usable they actually are, and the drivability factors into that. How easy is it to avoid the traffic? How easy is it to recover from a slight knock when you do catch something? And you will notice that the unupgraded one is really, really difficult to avoid other cars, and when you do clip them, the spin out is much more dramatic and much more difficult to recover from. So it's not just me being rubbish responsible for the rubbish lap in the unupgraded version, and that was one of the larger surprises. Like I say, I've done one of these comparisons between a standard and an upgraded version before, and back then, you know, quelle surprise, it turns out even back then that the upgrades were worth it. But every time I do this check, it sometimes surprises me how much difference it makes. If you think that the upgrades are just trimming things around the edges, then they're really not. They make a very significant difference. Now, whether they're worth the cost, that depends, because some of the upgrades can be expensive, and sometimes some of the upgrades, like the ones to suspension, can ruin some of the cars if you go too far with them. But with this one, I would say you want to be maximum on everything, max everything out, and then just make it look how you want, and you'll have a pretty decent car to stick in your collection. So here's the time it managed to do. And here's where it sits on the lapboard. I hope that was useful for you. I will have some more videos coming out very shortly. The GTA Online weekly update details will be released later this evening, so I'll have a better idea what cars you're going to have available on offer next week, and then as soon as that drops, I'll be sure to grab some of those and get some reviews out for those for you too. So take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.